to my kitchen. Today I am going to be starting on some bone broth. I went to our local butcher today. Thank you, Harry. We love you. And so I got all of these beef bones. This whole bag. There's 2 full-size like big bones in there. They cut them up into about 1.5 inch pieces for me, and I am going to use these to make my bone broth. I'm going to get some out and get them washed. I have enough here that I should be able to make 3 batches of bone broth down. So I'm going to get started. Ready to go down to the freezer until I need it next time. Alright, I'm going to get these rinsed off here real quick. Wash my hands. Got my hands washed, got my bones in here washed. So now it's time to get started on the vegetables. I do onion, garlic, carrots, and celery, and I also put, I'll put a little bit of salt and pepper in here and apple cider vinegar, and then I will cook this on low for 24 hours. All right, time to get peeling here. Now that I've got my vegetables all washed, I've got celery and carrots. I just peeled them and diced them into big chunks. Onion. And I got a whole bunch of garlic in here. I did like 1 whole big clove of garlic, so I've got all the little pieces in there. So all that goes in my crock pot. And then I'm going to take a splash of apple cider vinegar. Just a couple of tablespoons. This will help bring all the marrow out of the bones and just really soften the meat up to get all the flavor off the bone. And as you can see, there's still chunks of meat and fat in here. It's going to really help bring all that flavor out. Rinse my hands again here. So then we're going to cover everything with filtered water. Black pepper. I always do just a little salt and pepper in there. Okay. This is ready to go into my insert. Like I said, I'll cook this for 24 hours on low heat, and we'll come back tomorrow to can. Good morning. I've had my bone broth roasting down for 24 hours. So now we are going to remove the bones and vegetables, and then I'm going to let this cool in the refrigerator for about 6 hours. I've gotten the bones and the vegetables out. The vegetables I will use in a puree to add to a soup later, and the bones I will give to my cats and dogs. They love to chew on the bones. So I've got a clean pan here. We are going to strain up the broth, and after I get it strained, I will put this broth in the refrigerator for 6 to 8 hours so that the fat will come to the top and harden, and then we will scoop that fat off. We can use it for another project, and then we will use we'll use the broth to can down later this afternoon. I just wanted to get any of the leftover seasonings, bits of marrow, and veg out of there. As you can see, there's a little bit. And then we are left, I'll show you here, let me see, I gotta flip my camera around. We are left with this golden, delicious goodness here. Now as this cools, all that fat will come to the top and it will harden and we'll be able to just pick it right off. And then with that, we can purify it a little bit more to make tallow, and we can use that. I wouldn't use it in my baked goods, but if you were cooking, you needed to fry something, you can save it and use it for that. So let's get this in the refrigerator and we'll be back later this afternoon. So it's been about 8 hours since I put our bone broth in the fridge to cool. And as you can see, we've got this hard fat that's come to the top. Sorry. We're going to skim this off. Now this can be used in your, like if you're cooking or frying something. I wouldn't use it in my baked goods, or if you want to render it down and purify it a little bit more, it can be turned into tallow, and if you purify it really well, you can make it into a balm and add fragrances. I mean, look at this. This is lovely, and will be great for cooking. The reason they have you chill it down so you can get this fat off is the jars don't always seal if there's too much fat content. So it's recommended that you let it hang out in the refrigerator several hours and then scoop the fat off. I am going to leave a little bit in here just because it helps with the flavor when we are using this later on, but I'm going to pull most of it off. Set that out of the way. I'm actually going to get that on the stove warming up. I've got my jars in hot water sterilizing. I've got my canner heating on the stove with a couple inches of water and some white vinegar in there. And now I'm going to get my bone broth heating up, but I wanted to show you, look at all that fat. Now this I will purify down and then I will store it for later use. All right, let's get this heated up. Now that I've got my broth heated up and my canner is warming, you want your jars, your broth, and the water in your canner all the same temperature so you don't bust a jar. So we're just gonna fill these up. So I've got 6 pint jars and 1 quart jar of broth. I'm going to get some white vinegar here, and this will just help ensure that there's no oil or fat on the rim. Just wipe them down really good. Now if I were only processing the pint jars here, I would process them for 20 minutes. But since I have 1 quart jar in here, I'm going to process for 25 minutes. Let me just get these all wiped down really good here. These jars are hot, so be careful, don't burn yourself. My flats here. I had them in warm water, fingertip tight. Just make sure you get the excess water off of your flats. All right, I'm going to check and make sure my water's ready, and then I will put these in my canner. I will bring my canner up to pressure. I will let it vent for 10 minutes, at which time I will put the weight on. You'll need to check your sea level to find out how much weight you need to put on your canner. And once I've let it vent for 10 minutes, I put the weight on. When that weight starts to jiggle, then I will start my timer for 25 minutes. All right, I let it pressure can for 25 minutes. Then I turned the heat off and I just let it sit until my pressure came down. So let's get the jars out. This is still hot, so be careful and don't burn yourself. I will let these sit overnight, and then tomorrow morning I'll check my seals and they will be ready to go on the pantry shelf. Thank you for joining me.